Hi guys, my name is David and today I am going to be reviewing Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. This is book 2 in his First Law Trilogy series, and I did this as a buddy read with Gabi from GABI'S Arcanum. We also reviewed and did a buddy read on the first novel in the series, which is called The Blade Itself, which I will have a picture up here and a link will be down below in case you want to check out that video. It was my first ever grim dark novel, as well as GABI'S, and it was good. It was really good. It didn't really have a plot, but it did have some really great characters. It was more of a character-driven story than a plot-driven story. But as I said, the link will be down below in case you want to check out that video and to see what I thought about it. So before I went into Before They Are Hanged, I knew that it had a plot at this time, and I was excited. I loved the first one so much, even though it wasn't perfect. And both me and Gabi were extremely excited to dive into this world and to spend more time with these characters that we both enjoyed reading about. So every day me and Gabi were reading 1 or 2 chapters a day, and in that sense it did feel like our own adventure as we took our time reading this book, and it was a very enjoyable way of actually doing so. Before I tell you what the story is all about, let's just go straight over to Gabi now, where she'll be telling you guys everything that she likes about this book as a whole.
Hello guys, this is Gabi from GABI'S Arcanum channel, and today I come to talk about Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. This is book 2 in the First Law Trilogy, and the second buddy read we have read with David in this series, and I really enjoyed it. I like the blade itself a lot, but I really think that book 2 is a step up for Joe Abercrombie as an author, because everything that I loved about book 1 in book 2 was even better, and the things that I didn't like in book 1, they were fixed, if you could say that. Mainly the plot. Book 1 didn't have much of a plot, and here it was really interesting to see our characters and actually know what they're doing and why. But the best thing about these books, as always, I've said it before, is are the characters. Book 1 is a great introduction for amazing characters, and here we just get deeper and deeper. Santan Glokta has to be one of the most interesting characters I've read. His conflict, his internal monologue is so interesting. And then you get Logan, Pharaoh, Jocel's arc in this book is great. I used to hate him so much, and I really enjoyed how his character kept growing in this book. Also, Joe Abercrombie's writing is brilliant. I love his prose, how he doesn't embellish things, how blunt he is. I love his humor. It's dark. It doesn't compromise the tone. It fits perfectly. And yes, I don't have like much to complain about this book. I really enjoyed it. If you want to see my more in-depth thoughts, you're welcome to watch my review on it in my channel. Now let's get back to David.
Thanks for that, Gabi, and if you want to know what my general overall thoughts were for this novel, then don't forget to check out her video. I will have a link down below in the description. So before I tell you what this story is about, let me just say my usual things here, that this is going to be a spoiler-free video, but I will be mentioning, or I might mention, events that happened in the first novel. So if you haven't read the first novel, then maybe give this video a miss and come back to it when you have. Also, this is going to be my own thoughts and opinions regarding this novel. I've only read it once, and yes, I know that there will be some stuff that went over my head and stuff that I didn't completely understand. But with all that out of the way, let's go straight to what the story is all about. So the plot of this story is very basic and loose. It's about Befford, who is the Mad King of the North, or of the Northmen, and he is on a mission to go around this world with his army, destroying and killing anything and anyone that gets in his way. He is truly like the biggest threat of this story, but we don't hardly ever see him. We see his army in the distance, or our characters encounter them, but Bethard as a character, we don't really spend a lot of time with him, and we don't really know why he's doing this. We know that he has got a witch that actually helps him out and possibly has given him magical abilities, but apart from that we don't really know much about him. Our main story is actually split up into 3 different sections, of what I saw it, where all of our characters from the first novel are split up into 3 different sections throughout this book, and the book kind of like spends time with this character or this group of characters and goes on to this group of characters and so on and so forth. The first big group that we spend a lot of time with is Logan and his squad, or whatever, his group. And they are Logan Ninefingers, Frero, Jezreel, Boyas, Longfoot and Cray. Hopefully I've said that last one right. Logan is still our main warrior. He's our barbarian, he's a wilderness man, and he is a very strong leader. He knows that he has all these groups of people that are all different, and they all come from different areas of this world, some from the north and some from the south, and they all act differently and separated from each other. And he knows that if they ever get into a battle, he needs to make sure that they are in one unit and work together as a team. So he is the main leader of this group, but throughout this story we find out by him that he has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing, but he does his best. This group is actually led by the wizard Boyas, who is taking them to the edge of the world to get some artifact. It's not really made clear throughout the journey why or where they're going to, or when they get there, why are they going there in the first place. It's kind of hinted at or teased about as the story progresses, but at the end, I won't say what happens or why they're going there, but at the end it is resolved, and you do find out why they are going on this journey together. And also, the members of Logan's crew do not know why or where Boyas is actually leading them. Boyas is obviously a wizard. He does magic, and he's also what I'm going to call our storyteller. We find out a lot about the history and myths of this world, and its history and its backgrounds, and fallen empires and why they've fallen and why they're in ruins right now. And he tells the reader and the characters loads of stories throughout this book. One of the main stories is a story about 4 brothers that were given special powers and abilities. Well, 3 of them were, and the 4th one was kind of pushed aside and forgotten about, which I'm going to be calling the Forgotten Brother. This Forgotten Brother was extremely resentful towards his father and his 3 brothers, who didn't want to share their power with him. So he was extremely angry, and he went to some very dark places, and ultimately he brought down the Empire with some help from some friendly neighborhood demons. And that was really interesting to find out this backstory. All these characters are probably long dead by now, but it was really interesting to get this history of this world. It made it more real and more enjoyable. And one of the surprising elements of Logan's crew is Jezreel. Hopefully I'm saying his name right, I probably still am not. In the first book, he was extremely aggravating. He was always comparing his looks, saying how beautiful his chin was, and he felt entitled all the time, and he was extremely irritating. In this book, because he's been forced into fights and battles, he is really hardened, and he knows that he cannot get by on his looks alone, and he needs to work as a team. You find he slowly begins to realise that no one likes him, or that everyone puts up with him because of his status. But I liked him in this book. He finds that he needs to harden up, and I like that about him. He doesn't feel as entitled as he used to, and he's feeling a part of this band and this group. He has an extreme loyalty and dedication to Logan. He looks up to him as a leader, kind of like a father figure type of person. And that's what I liked about this story, is how Joe kind of took this character that I didn't hate, but I didn't really like either in the first book, and made him not one of my favourites, but made me like his character even more. And there are two other characters who I am not really sure about who they are, but they are called Longfoot and Quay. I'm pretty sure they are apprentices or apprentice wizards for Boyas, and they're kind of along for the rides. They are kind of like the side characters within this group. And also what I liked about this as well, about Pharaoh, I forgot to mention Pharaoh. She is still a hardened warrior. We find out that Boyas actually tells her about what the first and second laws are. Because in the first book, it is mentioned about the first law, but in this book, they are mentioned in depth throughout this story. I believe that the first law is that you cannot talk to demons, who, as far as I can remember, reside underneath the surface of this world. And also the second law, you cannot consume the flesh of a man. If you do, it will change your body physically, and you will become a mutant or a hybrid. And it also mentions how humans have actually had sex and relationships with demons, and how they've had children, and these children are offspring, kind of like half demon, half human type of things. And Pharaoh is one of these hybrids. But because we find out a lot about her past, she was sold into slavery and trying to be trained as a sex slave. And she kind of rose up against that, and I felt for her extremely a lot. All of her femininity, if that's even the word, has been stripped away from her, and she is no longer a female. And because she's had all the femininity taken away from her, she is extremely hardened and non-trusting all the time. She doesn't trust anyone. She thinks that if she does, then that's a weakness and people will betray her. She thinks that if she has friends, they will betray her eventually. And she kind of is always sitting to the side or standing away from the group, but obviously keeping in the same vicinity as them. We also find out that Logan and Pharaoh have a relationship, or start to have a relationship and feelings towards each other. But because they are both hardened by this unfair world that they are in, they find it extremely difficult to express their emotions for each other. They have they actually have sex with each other. They obviously have feelings towards each other, and they care about each other a lot. But because of the reasons I've just explained, they find it difficult to express them feelings towards each other. So that's the first group of people. The second group is focusing around Glocta, who is mostly by himself, and he's been sent to this city which is falling to pieces, and he is responsible for going there and finding out what happened to this city's lead torturer. He's gone missing, and he's just gone there to be a kind of a detective type of figure and find out why and what's actually happened to this man that's disappeared. No one tells him what happened to this person. Everyone in the town plays dumb, and he knows that someone knows something and is not telling him. And as he's doing this, he observes this town and it's falling to pieces, and he says, right, I'm going to make it my own personal mission to rebuild this town, so in case when the Gurkish, who are a massive group, or a massive army which are going through this world killing people. I'm not sure whether the Gurkish are Befford's army. I presume so. If they aren't, or if they are, I'm sure someone will comment it down below. But he makes it his mission to rebuild this town and to make it battle ready. But when his boss calls him back and away from this town, we find out that Glocta's boss had hidden motivations towards sending Glocta to this city. Also, Ardi, which is West's sister, I was going to say his daughter. Ardi is actually in this story, but she's at the end. She only has a very small section. But Glocta meets up with Ardi again, and he realizes that he promised his friend West that he would take care of her, and he kind of neglected that. But he says, right, I am here now and I am going to protect you. And I love Glocta so much. He is the same character as the first book. He is extremely funny. His inner monologue is funny. He says one thing and he thinks about something completely different. He's very humorous. Stairs are still a big concern for Glocta. But we find out about his past as a warrior, as he's constantly thinking about it and people constantly bring it up. We find out that about how he interacts with females, how I think he's more of I think deep down he actually likes being in the presence of women, but he doesn't know how to react to them or around them because of his deformities, and he doesn't know how to react. We find out also that he was tortured immensely by the Gurkish, that he was captured when he was a warrior and tortured, and that is why he is in the condition that he is in these books. And that kind of brings up a lot of anger towards the Gurkish, but he can control that anger. And the third and final group of people that we follow is West, who has been given the opportunity to go to war, and he has been shown a prince called Prince Ladsley. Probably butchered that name completely, but this prince, he's been ordered to help him with his battles against the Gurkish and Beffords. And the prince is extremely entitled. He stays in a tent on this battlefield where all this deep mud is, and his army is completely hungry and worn out and fed up, and he's in his tent with all this lavish decorations and all this food, and his army is starving to death. He is extremely irritating. He's extremely oblivious. He says, yes, we'll actually win, we'll actually beat Befford, we'll slay his army. And both me and Gabby were thinking, yes, this guy is going to get his ass kicked when that happens. I thought that as the story progressed, that he would he would actually be a bit more tolerable, and we would like him, kind of like the growth that Jezreel had as well. Didn't go down that way, and along the way, West comes across the Dogman and Three Trees. Not sure if Three Trees was in the first book. I cannot remember. If he is, just comment down below. But the Dogman and his group come across West, and they say, right, even though we're Northmen and we were once loyal to Beffords, he is mad now and we do not represent him anymore, and we do not follow him, and we want to bring him down, and we want to fight him with you guys. So throughout this section, all these groups of people stay together, but in parts of this book you do see side sections where the Dogman and Three Trees have their own separate sections or chapters. And they are still hardened warriors, they're still wilderness men, they do strongly believe that their leader, Logan, he is actually dead, and vice versa. That's basically what the story is all about. So what I'm going to rate this story is a 5 stars out of 5, full marks. I could be extremely picky and nitpick this book to bits. Yes, there were chapters that I didn't like, or I thought that they were simply okay, and some chapters that I felt that were amazing. The battle scenes, oh my god, they were so good. And I could also say that there were characters that I didn't like at all in this book, or characters that I thought that were simply okay. But I am not going to nitpick this book. This book was really epic, and I felt a part of this world. I am really getting into Joe Abercrombie's writing style and in this world, and I cannot wait to read the 3rd and final book in this trilogy. So, closing thoughts. Simply, as I said, this book is epic. I'm really getting into grimdark. I feel that if you aren't sure about where to start with grimdark, I'm fairly new to grimdark, but I would highly recommend that you started where I started at, and that was with the Blade itself. This book takes what that book brought to the table, improves it, wraps it up in a nice plot, and you spend a lot of time with these characters and in this world, and it is simply a gorgeous book. It really is. I'm deeply falling in love with Joe Abercrombie's work and writing style and his characters, even though with me characters and plots have to be on the same kind of level playing field. But with this book, I don't mind if the plot is a bit lower and the characters are up here. Oh my god, this book is simply a perfection. Even though it's not 100% perfect like any other book is, but I really enjoyed it a lot. So guys, that is my review on Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment down below, let me know if you've read this, what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the characters. Although, if you do talk about spoilers, just type spoiler, and just so people know that you're going to be talking about spoilery stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about this book with people down in the comments. If you have liked this video as a whole, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you do subscribe, please click on that bell so it will remind you about whenever I upload videos, which are every Monday and Friday. As I said, I will have a link down below to GABI'S channel and her collaboration video. It will come out at the same time as this one, so it's only a click away down in the description. I will also have down there a link to my Goodreads account in case you want to follow me on Goodreads and see what I'm currently reading and all that lovely great stuff. And with all that out of the way, have a great day, read some awesome books, and I will see you all in my next video.